My sister announced her pregnancy at my wedding without asking. I'm still furious, and my family thinks I'm overreacting. I, 28F, got married to my husband Jake, 30M, last weekend after being engaged for 18 months. We had been planning this wedding for over a year, and it was honestly the most stressful but rewarding experience of my life. My parents contributed about 40% of the costs, and Jake and I covered the rest. We're talking about a $35,000 wedding with 150 guests. Everything was perfect. The venue was gorgeous, the food was amazing, and I felt like a princess in my dress that I'd been dreaming about since I was little. But now, a week later, I can barely look at my wedding photos without feeling sick to my stomach, and it's all because of my sister Emma, 25F. Emma and I have always had a complicated relationship. She's 3 years younger than me, and growing up, she was always the golden child, super outgoing, popular, and had this way of making everything about her. Don't get me wrong, I love her, but she has this pattern of making big announcements or creating drama at family events. Some examples. At my high school graduation party, she announced she was dropping out of college to find herself and travel Europe, completely derailing the celebration. At our cousin's wedding 3 years ago, she got blackout drunk and had to be carried out by paramedics. At my engagement party, she spent the entire night crying about her breakup with her ex-boyfriend, and several people left early to comfort her. My mom always defends her with Emma just feels things deeply, or she doesn't mean any harm. My dad usually stays out of it, but I know he gets frustrated too. The lead up to the wedding. About 6 weeks before my wedding, Emma started dating this guy Marcus, 27M. It seemed pretty casual. They'd only been together for like a month when she started bringing him to family dinners. He seemed nice enough, but I was honestly too focused on wedding planning to pay much attention. 2 weeks before the wedding, Emma seemed different. She was more emotional than usual, which is saying something, kept making weird comments about new beginnings, and oddly, she started being super helpful with wedding stuff. Like, suspiciously helpful. She volunteered to help set up decorations, offered to pick up my dress from alterations, and even suggested we do a sister spa day the weekend before the wedding. I should have known something was up, but I was just grateful for the help and thought maybe she was finally maturing. The wedding day. The ceremony was perfect. Emma was my maid of honor, and she did great. Got me ready on time, held my bouquet, even gave a sweet and blessedly short speech about how happy she was for Jake and me. I was starting to think maybe I'd been too hard on her over the years. The reception started off wonderfully. Our first dance went perfectly, dinner was delicious, and everyone seemed to be having an amazing time. My new mother-in-law even told me it was the most beautiful wedding she'd ever been to. Then came the toasts. The announcement. After the traditional speeches from the best man and maid of honor, we opened up the mic for anyone who wanted to say something. A few family friends shared some sweet stories. Jake's college roommate made everyone laugh with some embarrassing stories, and then Emma stood up. She grabbed the microphone and started with the usual stuff. How beautiful the day was, how perfect Jake and I are together, blah blah blah. I was smiling and nodding along, thinking this was actually really sweet of her. Then she said, "You know, Sarah and Jake, you two have inspired me so much with your love story." And speaking of love stories and new beginnings, my stomach dropped. I knew that tone. I knew where this was going. Marcus and I have some exciting news to share with everyone. We're going to be parents. I'm 8 weeks pregnant. The entire reception erupted in cheers and applause. People were jumping up from their tables, rushing over to hug Emma and Marcus. My 85-year-old grandmother literally got up from her wheelchair to congratulate them. The photographer, who had been packing up, started taking pictures of Emma and Marcus. I just stood there in my wedding dress, watching my wedding reception turn into Emma's pregnancy announcement party. My reaction. I felt like I was watching everything happen in slow motion. Jake squeezed my hand and whispered, "Are you okay?" But I couldn't even respond. I was so shocked that I just plastered on a smile and tried to act happy, but inside I was absolutely fuming. For the next hour, every conversation was about Emma's pregnancy. People kept asking her about due dates, if they knew the gender, if they were planning to get married. Meanwhile, Jake and I were literally standing there in our wedding attire, watching our guests celebrate someone else's news. The worst part? When it was time to cut the cake, my wedding cake, half the guests were still crowded around Emma, and someone actually had the audacity to suggest we should have a double celebration and let Emma and Marcus cut the cake with us. I managed to hold it together until the end of the night, but as soon as the last guest left, I broke down sobbing in the bridal suite. The confrontation. The next morning, before Jake and I left for our honeymoon, I called Emma. I was still upset, but trying to be rational. Emma, I need to talk to you about last night. Why didn't you give me a heads up that you were going to announce your pregnancy at my wedding? Her response? Oh my God, Sarah, I'm so sorry. I didn't plan it. I was just so caught up in the moment and all the love in the room, and it just felt right. Besides, isn't it amazing that we have so much good news to celebrate as a family? I told her that while I was happy for her, I felt like she had stolen the spotlight on what was supposed to be my special day. I explained that I would have appreciated a heads up, or better yet, if she had waited literally one day to make the announcement. That's when she got defensive. Sarah, you're being really selfish right now. This is good news. I'm bringing new life into the world. I can't believe you're making this about you. Emma, it was literally my wedding day. It was about me. Well, the world doesn't revolve around you, Sarah. And honestly, I think you're just jealous because Marcus and I are starting our family before you and Jake. I hung up on her. When Jake and I got back from our honeymoon, which was amazing, by the way, the family drama was in full swing. My mom called me immediately. Sarah, honey, you need to call your sister and apologize. She's very upset, and it's not good for the baby. My dad was more understanding but still thought I should let it go because what's done is done. Emma had apparently been telling everyone that I screamed at her for being pregnant and that I was unsupportive of her growing family. She even posted on social media about how some people can't just be happy for others, with crying emojis. Meanwhile, several wedding guests reached out to me saying they thought Emma's timing was inappropriate and they were sorry that happened. My maid of honor, my college best friend, was absolutely livid and said she would have tackled Emma off that stage if she had known what was coming. Where we are now. It's been a week since the wedding, and I'm still processing everything. On one hand, I am happy for Emma. I'm going to be an aunt, and that's exciting. But on the other hand, I feel like she completely hijacked my wedding day, and I can't shake the feeling that she did it on purpose. Looking back, all the signs were there. She'd been acting weird for weeks. She was being unusually helpful and nice. She specifically asked to give a toast. She's never done that at family events before. She brought Marcus as her plus one, even though they'd barely been dating. Jake is completely on my side and thinks Emma owes me a massive apology. He's also pointed out that if she was really caught up in a moment, she would have told us privately first, not announced it to 150 people. My in-laws are horrified and keep apologizing like it's their fault somehow. Jake's mom said she's never seen anything like it in 30 years of attending weddings. The current situation. Emma and I haven't spoken since our phone call. She's been texting me memes and acting like nothing happened, but she hasn't apologized. My parents keep pressuring me to be the bigger person and call her. The thing is, I don't think I'm wrong here. Yes, pregnancy is wonderful news, but there's a time and a place for everything. She could have told me privately before the wedding and asked if it was okay to announce. Waited until the next day. Made the announcement at literally any other family gathering. Posted on social media after the wedding. Hosted her own announcement party. Instead, she chose to do it at MY wedding, during MY reception, in front of MY guests, without giving me any heads up whatsoever. What's making this worse? The photographer situation. Our photographer spent the last hour of our reception taking pictures of Emma and Marcus instead of Jake and me. We're missing photos of our cake cutting, last dance, and send-off because everyone was focused on the pregnancy announcement. The gift situation. Several people who were planning to give us cards or gifts ended up giving them to Emma instead, or split gifts between both celebrations. The social media aftermath. Emma posted about her pregnancy announcement with photos from MY wedding reception. She's getting hundreds of congratulations, and people are commenting on how beautiful the announcement was. Meanwhile, my wedding photos barely got any attention. Future events. Emma's baby shower is going to be in a few months, and I already know my family expects me to help plan it and be super involved. But honestly, I'm dreading it. My questions. Am I overreacting? Everyone keeps telling me I should just be happy for Emma and let it go, but I feel like my feelings are valid. Should I apologize? My mom thinks I should call Emma and apologize for making her feel bad about her pregnancy announcement. How do I move forward? I love my sister, but I'm having a hard time trusting her after this. I feel like she's shown me that she doesn't respect boundaries and will always make things about her. What about future events? I'm worried about her baby shower, future family gatherings, and honestly, what she might pull at other important events in my life. Additional context. Emma has never been pregnant before, so this is big news for our family. She and Marcus are not engaged or living together. This was not a planned pregnancy, she told our mom. Jake and I are not trying to get pregnant yet, so the jealousy angle doesn't make sense. Emma makes about twice as much money as Jake and me combined, so it's not like she needed the attention for gifts or anything. I just want to know, am I wrong to still be upset about this? Should I apologize and move on? Or do I have a right to set boundaries with Emma going forward? TLDR, my sister announced her pregnancy during the toasts at my wedding reception without giving me any heads up. The announcement took over the entire evening, and when I told her I was hurt, she said I was being selfish. My family thinks I should apologize to her. Am I wrong to still be upset? Update. Thank you all for the responses. Reading through these comments has made me realize I'm not crazy for being upset. Jake and I have decided to write Emma a letter explaining our feelings and giving her one chance to apologize sincerely. If she doesn't, we're going low contact until after the baby is born. I also scheduled a session with a family therapist to help me navigate this situation and future boundary setting with Emma. Story 2. My roommate invited her boyfriend to live with us without asking me. Now they're treating me like I'm the unreasonable one. Posted in r/roommates 6 hours ago. I, 23F, am losing my mind over this situation and need some outside perspective because I'm starting to think I'm going crazy. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate Jess, 22F, near our college campus. We've been living together for about 8 months now, and up until recently, things were pretty good. We found each other through a Facebook housing group, and while we're not best friends, we generally get along well and respect each other's space. The rent is $1,400 per month total, so we each pay $700 plus split utilities evenly. Background on the living situation. Our lease is in both of our names, which I'm grateful for now given what's happening. The apartment is actually pretty nice for a college town, decent-sized bedrooms, 1 bathroom, small living room/kitchen combo. It's not huge, but it's comfortable for 2 people. When we moved in together, we had a conversation about guests, parties, overnight visitors, etc. We agreed that having people over occasionally was fine, but anything more than 2 to 3 nights a week should be discussed. We also agreed that any major changes to the living situation would need to be talked about and agreed upon by both of us. This seemed like common sense to me. Enter the boyfriend. About 4 months ago, Jess started dating this guy Trevor, 24M. At first, he seemed fine, polite, quiet, cleaned up after himself when he was over. He'd come by maybe once or twice a week, sometimes stay the night on weekends. No big deal. But gradually, his visits became more frequent. By month 2 of their relationship, he was staying over 4 to 5 nights a week. By month 3, he was there every single night. I started noticing his stuff appearing around the apartment. His toothbrush in our bathroom. His shampoo and body wash in our shower. His clothes in Jess's room, and sometimes draped over our living room furniture. His food taking up half of our shared fridge space. His gaming setup permanently stationed in the living room. I was getting annoyed but figured it was just a phase and they'd settle into a more reasonable routine. I also didn't want to seem controlling or like a bad roommate, so I didn't say anything immediately. The announcement. Last Tuesday, I was making dinner in the kitchen when Jess came out of her room and casually said, "Oh, hey, I've been meaning to tell you, Trevor's lease is up at the end of next month, so he's just going to move in here with us. I literally stopped stirring my pasta and stared at her. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, it makes sense since he's here all the time anyway. Plus, his current place is way more expensive and kind of a dump. Don't worry, you won't even notice the difference since he's practically living here already. I was so caught off guard that I didn't know what to say. I managed to get out something like, shouldn't we talk about this first? Her response, what's there to talk about? Like I said, he's here all the time anyway, and he'll totally help out with groceries and stuff. My concerns, that apparently don't matter. After I had some time to process, I tried to have a real conversation with Jess about this. I explained that I had several concerns. Privacy. I signed up to live with one roommate, not two. I already feel like I'm walking on eggshells sometimes because Trevor's always here. I can't walk around in my pajamas, can't have friends over without feeling like I'm intruding in their space, and I feel uncomfortable in my own living room half the time. Financial. If Trevor's living here full-time, shouldn't rent and utilities be split 3 ways instead of 2? Our water bill has already gone up significantly, and the electric bill was unusually high last month, probably from his gaming setup running constantly. Not to mention, he's using up our internet bandwidth for gaming and streaming. Lease concerns. Our lease doesn't allow for additional occupants without landlord approval. If our landlord finds out there's a third person living here without permission, we could get evicted or face penalties. Lack of discussion. This is supposed to be our shared space. Major decisions like adding another person should be something we both agree on, not something one person decides unilaterally. Jess's response. Jess did not take my concerns well. At all. You're being really selfish about this, you know. Trevor's going through a hard time financially, and his current roommates are awful. I thought you'd be more supportive. When I pressed about the rent situation, she said, he'll help with groceries and maybe pitch in for utilities sometimes, but he can't afford to pay a full third of the rent right now. Besides, he's not even using that much extra space. He'll just be sharing my room. About the lease issue. The landlord will never find out, and even if he does, it's not a big deal. Lots of people have their boyfriends move in. And when I emphasized that this should have been a discussion, I'm telling you now, aren't I? Like I said, you won't even notice the difference. It's been a week since this conversation, and Trevor has basically moved in already. He's here every single night, his stuff is everywhere, and he's acting like he owns the place. Some examples. He rearranged our living room furniture to better accommodate his gaming setup. He's eaten food from the fridge that I bought for myself. He uses our shared bathroom for 45+ minutes every morning. We only have one bathroom. He had 3 of his friends over last weekend to play video games until 2 a.m. on a Sunday night. He leaves dishes in the sink constantly. He started answering the door when people come by, even when it's someone here to see me. When I tried to address some of these issues with Jess, she got defensive and said I was being hostile toward Trevor for no reason, and that I need to give him a chance to adjust. The breaking point. Yesterday was the final straw. I came home from work to find that Trevor had given his friend a key to our apartment so the friend could hang out and wait for Trevor to get back from class. I walked into MY apartment to find a complete stranger sitting on my couch, eating my leftover pizza and watching Netflix on my account. When I asked who he was and why he was in my apartment, he casually said, "Oh, I'm Mike, Trevor's buddy. He said I could wait here for him. Hope that's cool." It was not cool. When Trevor got home, I confronted him about giving out keys to our apartment. His response? Chill, it's just Mike. I've known him for years, he's totally trustworthy. I told him that wasn't the point. You don't give apartment keys to people without checking with your roommates first. Trevor just shrugged and said, "Well, I live here now, so I figured it was fine." Jess's reaction to my overreaction. When I talked to Jess about the key situation, she said I was completely overreacting and being dramatic. She said Trevor didn't know he needed to ask permission and that I should have just explained it to him calmly instead of freaking out. I tried to explain that this is part of a bigger pattern of Trevor and her making decisions about our shared space without considering me at all, but She just kept saying I was being unreasonable and looking for reasons to dislike Trevor. The conversation ended with her saying, "Look, Trevor's moving in whether you like it or not. His lease is up in 3 weeks, and he literally has nowhere else to go. You can either get on board or make both of our lives miserable, but either way, this is happening." Where things stand now, I feel completely powerless in my own home. Trevor's essentially moved in. Jess is treating me like I'm the problem, and I'm the one walking around feeling uncomfortable and unwelcome. I've been staying at my boyfriend's place more often just to avoid the situation, but I'm paying $700 per month for an apartment I don't even want to be in anymore. I'm also worried about the lease implications. If our landlord finds out, and I feel like it's when, not if, we could both be in serious trouble. But Jess doesn't seem to care about that risk at all. My options, all of which suck. Accept the situation. Let Trevor move in officially, but demand that rent and utilities be split 3 ways. Problem: Jess already said he can't afford it, and I don't trust either of them to be reliable about payments. Go to the landlord, report the lease violation before it becomes a bigger problem. Problem: this could get both Jess and me in trouble, and would definitely destroy any chance of salvaging our roommate relationship. Move out, break my lease, and find somewhere else to live. Problem: I'd lose my security deposit, probably have to pay early termination fees, and finding a new place mid-semester is nearly impossible and expensive. Make Trevor's life miserable until he leaves. Be petty and unwelcoming until he decides it's not worth it. Problem: I'm not naturally a confrontational person, and this would make living here even more uncomfortable for me. What I've tried: having calm, rational conversations about boundaries, dismissed as being dramatic. Suggesting compromises like having Trevor contribute to rent/utilities, shot down because he can't afford it. Asking for basic courtesy, like checking before rearranging shared spaces, ignored. Setting small boundaries like asking him not to eat my food. Apparently I'm being petty. Nothing works. Every conversation ends with me being told I'm overreacting, being selfish, or looking for problems. The latest development. This morning, I found a handwritten note on the kitchen counter from Trevor that said, "Hey, my name. Just wanted to let you know I'll be having my gaming buddies over this Saturday for a tournament. We'll probably be here most of the day. Thanks for being cool about it. T." He didn't ask if it was okay. He just informed me that it was happening and thanked me in advance for being cool about it. I haven't even responded yet because I honestly don't know what to say anymore.